Okay. Hi, my name's Gabe. I work at MMA-Freak.com. Senior editor there. A lot of good content flows on that site. And I just wanted to talk about one fight in particular that I feel has really created a lot of misplaced information, misplaced hype, and misplaced analysis. And that is a lot of the topics coming out of a lot of the trending topics that came from the first Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman fight. Anderson Silva defended his middleweight title against undefeated Chris Weidman and got knocked out early on in the second round. And a couple of things that came out of that was one, Chris Weidman got lucky. Two, Anderson Silva wasn't even trying. Three, Anderson Silva looked faster and had gotten in Weidman's head. And most importantly, that Anderson Silva could just roll over Chris Weidman in the rematch. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I hope Anderson Silva gets his title back. I hope he rolls over Chris Weidman. I'd love nothing more than to see that fucking New York Yankee motherfucker just get put right back in his place. I can't handle one more New York, type situation. I mean, I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. But at the other hand, I can't deny what my eyes saw and the way that information was processed in my brain, And what I saw in that fight was Anderson Silva dancing around and trying to get in Chris Weidman's head, and he threw some leg kicks, and I guess he snuck those in, but Weidman stayed focused and didn't panic, didn't allow Anderson Silva to benefit off, any sort of he didn't allow Anderson Silva to kind of create opportunity out of chaos. I know I say that a lot, but I think that's a huge aspect of a lot of different fighters' games, and I think that's what Anderson Silva does. He throws you off his game. He makes you act out of character. He makes you act carelessly, and he capitalizes on it. But in the first round, right when you saw Chris Weidman grab Anderson Silva and take him to the ground, it didn't matter what Anderson Silva did. Weidman just put him squarely in front of him and past his guard, went right into side control, and of course Silva popped up and got out. But I mean, it was looking kind of rough for him right when they kind of clashed. Now, if you watch watch the fight, but also watch this video breakdown that Chael Sonnen did. I think you can find it on Fuel TV's YouTube channel. But watch what happens. They just show the clips where those two clashed, and each time Chris Weidman just immediately starts like touching Anderson Silva, just with his fists, with his legs, just it's hard to say that Anderson Silva from that moment that Anderson Silva could have just walked over Weidman and won the fight. I mean, how can you say that when? Sure, there's a potential if he fought differently, he could win. You could say that about any fight, but how can you say that when the moments they did clash, Chris Weidman was clearly doing more and being more effective. Now, in the rematch, there's going to be a couple fundamental differences. One, Anderson Silva will probably take this fight more serious. That's probably obviously going to happen. Two, and this is a very big one, Chris Weidman is going to not be so afraid of Anderson Silva. He's not going to be as hesitant, probably. He's going to be much more aggressive, and he's going to be much more confident. And even if he's just an ounce more capable than he was, that's going to be hard for Anderson Silva to overcome. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, think about this. If you want to analyze this fight at all, what you need to do is you need to look at the first two. You need to look at the two Chael Sonnen fights. The first one, Anderson Silva got destroyed for 5 rounds, came back, choked out Weidman trying to go choke in the 5th round. In the second one, Anderson Silva took that fight much more serious than he had in a long time, and was able to really, put Sonnen away in the 2nd round. He did some unethical, he had some unethical situations, or he had some unethical strategies he employed, where he grabbed the shorts and punched Sonnen and tried to, put Vaseline all over his body before the fight even started, and he held onto the cage at some point. There's these situations that happen, and whatever, it's in the past. But the point is maybe Anderson Silva will look better this time. Maybe he will. We still don't know what Chris Weidman's potential is. That's another huge point. Think about this. If Chris Weidman if he is at all going to show more skill, in his career. Which, let's be honest, that's probably what's going to happen. Think about this. He we don't really know what he's capable of. He might have an innumerable amount of skill. He might be better than Anderson Silva ever was and ever will be. Or Chris Weidman could have been just got lucky. Now, if you look at his record, it's impressive. He's undefeated. But the fact of the matter is we don't know what he's capable of yet. We just haven't seen, we haven't seen him challenged. We haven't really seen him put through any adversity. And this might be the change of the guard. This might be, Anderson Silva's last fight in December. So UFC 168. The other thing too is, Weidman did say he was going to give Anderson Silva his rematch in Brazil. That's what he said. That's obviously not happening. I mean, right here it's saying MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. Now, that's too bad, because if Anderson Silva, for any Anderson Silva fan, you would want his fight to be in Brazil. You would want him to have the crowd backing him, especially if it's going to be his iconic last fight in the sport. Of course, a lot of people in America and in other places of the world probably would rather see Anderson Silva's last fight in Vegas. It's a more accommodating venue, probably easier to put on, and let's face it, out of all the established fights, if you have to add a fight to a fight card, add it in Vegas. It's still going to have the drawing potential. It's still going to have the crowd behind it. And so yeah, that's all I really got. I think Chris Weidman's going to take the rematch. Never count Anderson Silva out. Either way, I'll be watching. And tune in next time. I throw one of these little things together. All right, I write for MMA-Freak.com. Other people do as well. Check it out. It's good shit. I also have a podcast. I don't run it. Senior writer Ben McPhee runs it with his co-host Tiger Taylor. If you want to check any of them out, hit them up on Twitter. It's all, all their handles are located at MMA-Freak.com. And their podcast can be found at blogtalkradio.com/MMA Freakout. That's all I got, folks. Thanks for tuning in.